if I could just give you a little foretaste of my wife Anne's speech in May, that will be on the linguistics, the effect of the Africans on the Bahamian language. So that's a little foretaste of this. We traced the various places that tribes, and I never know what to call them, tribes, nations, or just indigenous people. When you read the literature, it's quite confusing. I think indigenous people might be the really cool. So from Senegambia, the Windward Coast, the Gold Coast, the Bight of Benin, the Bight of Biafra, and Senegal. And then I give a little story that I picked up about, and I wrote this in a journal some time ago, about the first ordained Baptist minister in the Bahamas, Shadrach Kerr, who was born in 1830. He was a free man of colour. He was standing on the top of where Fort Fincastle is now, and he witnessed the British man of war, the Hornet, seizing 2 Portuguese ships passing through the Nassau harbour, and he gives the numbers of 680 and 750 slaves, all chained side by side. And then he gives a personal account. To my father was given 2 men, 1 young woman, and 3 boys. When they were brought over, the simple rag found on little of their bodies created curiosity. Most of them had glistened skin, as though they were greased. Most of them were half-starved through their limbs, although their limbs were stalwart. And so after emancipation, that slaves were emancipated, but we fell into the drug and credit system, which was another form of slavery. She talks about the Loyalists transformed the Bahamas, and after emancipation, a boom-bust economy, and then finally the age of development. I put in there that after the 1812 war between Britain and America, trade to American ports greatly increased, and the Bahamas were a prime location for traders to and from the Caribbean and Gulf ports. And of course, the big thing was the wrecking. The wrecking industry was big. So in the last section, I go through the age of development, industries and events, of course, wrecking, shipbuilding, blockade running, smuggling, fruit and vegetables, especially pineapples, sisal, lumber, World War I, bootlegging, World War II, the project, which is the building of Windsor Field, and the contract, which is the Bahamians open farms in the USA. And of course, the modern tourism, like ship registry. Diana does the same thing. She goes from sponging, bootlegging, timber, dairy produce, salt, war, and tourism. And then I felt as if I had to add an afterword. So I go through the 7 constitutions of the Bahamas, a political setup. The first constitution, of course, was new and adventurous or fair articles. And then a very interesting one in the 19th century, the political religious dispute. I know Mr. Christie will think that PLP was the first political party, but it was actually a war between the Church Party, the Anglicans, and an amalgamation of Methodists, Presbyterians, and Baptists. Well, this endowment was 1868, so from the 1850s to the 1870s, the political parties were church. And of course, the Methodists, who were mainly from Harbour Island, Eleuthera, and Spanish Wales, married into the Loyalists and became what we know as the Bay Street Boys, which morphed into the new BP. Of course, the PLP were just slightly before that. Talk about the F&M formation, and of course a little bit on the DNA, and then again the 2012 election results. Thanks for your attendance. Well, I'm just going to present a book to Mr. Christie first. Let me go.
Historical Society for lasting this long. And I say that because in every country there is usually the lamentation that one doesn't do enough, either as a people, as a government, to ensure that the history of the country recorded, and in a country like the Bahamas, where we're an oral society, that is particularly true. I'm going to credit your interest to the fact that you married in the court of and therefore you got married into a historical family. But let me tell you what is interesting about the Bahamas. You, Christie, here? Listen? You should listen to this. I met with Godfrey Kelly early, I think it was Monday, and he brought with him a couple of generations, some of Basil's sons and one of his granddaughters. And I indicated to him, I said, well, when did you first come here? The Kellys. And somewhere around middle of the 17th century.
78.
Okay. And I said, where did you live? And they said they originated just outside the bluff in Utah. Well, no white people live in the bluff now. And what is fascinating, when you look at the history of places like Gregorytown, places like that, and you trace the history, you can see how everyone migrated either into New Providence or into Spanish Wells or into Africa. But Godfrey, I said to him, you've been a minister of education, you're the charter member of the Bahamas National Trust, and we know nothing about the Kellys. I had an uncle who was from Crooked Island, who every mortgage he had was a mortgage advanced by Trevor Kelly, but nothing is written. And so we still have huge gaps in our history. And notwithstanding the good work of some of our authors, there is still so much to be done. And the reason why I began by congratulating the Historical Society is that we're headed into the 40th anniversary of our country's independence. And I have been agitating with, I suppose I should say, elements in the College of the Bahamas, where at one stage they had Gale and Saunders and Campbell Bethel, Elwin Bethel. Right. Now they have commissioned Dr. Tracy Thompson. I've asked for a proposal from Patty McCollus because I am interested in using as a catalytic moment in our own history, the 40th anniversary, to cause a resurgence, a renaissance in the movement forward with capturing our history. So when I first met Jim in my office, and I had a rough draft of this book, I recognized how really significant it all was. History can do so much to heal a country. It gives people confidence, it gets them to know the history, it gets them to know how people first came here, and it also enables you to see the upward trajectory of how we have improved ourselves over the generations. You know, and as we discuss, for example, the vexing element of the illegal migration to the Bahamas, as long ago as 1803, a woman by the name of Esther